Ahoy there, and welcome to the next One Piece manga chapter review. Today we have chapter 1120, titled Atlas. So that suggests that Atlas is going to play a big part in this chapter. So that's going to be interesting. We're still trying to escape from Egghead. In the last chapter, Vegapunk's message started playing again, so we might get a little bit more information, hidden information in this chapter, and we might have the Straw Hats finally reunite as they get closer to escaping from the island. I wonder what the Elders are going to do. There might be some more revelations to drop. So, we've got our chapter cover story here. Mighty Child Yamato and the Holy Inari Shrine Pilgrimage, Volume 10. Kids getting put in timeout by the Daimyo Kubi. Denjuro. Or Kibi. Denjuro. So, Denjuro has become the Daimyo of Kibi, which is interesting to see. So, he is serving as a Daimyo. I wonder if any of the other scabbards are serving as daimyo for other territories in Wano. Maybe we will find out. Okay, notes from Oda. I got a Rayquaza Summon Slider kit. I've already sampled the cold noodles it serves. Something this elegant can't slide under the radar. Ichigo Oda. So, seems Oda is a fan of Rayquaza and Pokemon in general, since you got the Rayquaza Summon Slider kit. It's a very interesting little detail about Oda. Okay, Punk Hazard 26 years ago. A genius in his prime. I implore you, Vegapunk, please aid in our research. Yes, in our research. It's imperative that we study the Void Century. The world's history can't remain shrouded in darkness. Our research requires expertise in numerous fields. I work for the government now. I can't afford to leak my findings. Grow will. Growl will. Oh, growl. Okay, so we have a shot of the gates to Punk Hazard. Vegapunk, a young Vegapunk, sitting on a pipe with the dragon from... Interesting, the dragon from Punk Hazard. And it's smaller. Is it small? Yeah, it's smaller, so it's like a baby dragon at this point. So that's interesting. It was mentioned that Vegapunk used to operate outside of Punk Hazard. So this is back when Vegapunk was operating in Punk Hazard. And Clover is standing there talking to Vegapunk. So Clover tried to recruit Vegapunk to help with Ohara's studies of the Void Century. This does further confirm that they were friends in the past. Okay, next panel. How many times have they caught you anyway? Open your eyes. Can't you see why they keep letting you go free? They're hoping to flush out your allies. Stand down. Let the past remain shrouded. You won't find the answer to... Okay. Let the past remain shrouded. You won't find the answer to good and evil in a bunch of old stories. I once knew someone who carried a D in their name. He was killed right in front of me. We grew up together. He was my big brother. And then there's a shocked expression from Vegapunk. Clover's big brother was a D, which means that Clover was a D. My real name is Clown H. Clown. C-L-O-W-M. Clyomh. Clyomh D. Clover. We, we were only friends. And that day I lied to save myself. So, Clover admits that he is a D. We get a tiny little flashback here. Looks like government agents. They shot Clover's brother and he's dead. And Clover's on his knees saying, we were only friends. So he lied about who he was. I lied on that day to save myself. Tell me, how am I meant to accept a world where you can die just for having the wrong name? History will only continue to be suppressed. The world will never know. I'll forget about what you just told me, but I'm afraid I can't help you. Do your best to stay safe. Vegapunk. The voices of the past call out to you. Just wait. I'll solve this puzzle, and when I do, you won't be able to ignore them. Now we've skipped up to 22 years ago. Did you hear the news from West Blue? Ohara came face to face with a buster call. Take a look. It's the biggest massacre ever. They finally got that archaeologist Clover. So here we have Caesar. That's what happens when you look into the void century. No one's going to make that mistake again. And they're in the lab. Vegapunk is at a computer terminal. And now he's remembering. I implore you, Vegapunk. Okay, Vegapunk sees Robin's wanted poster. Oh, looks like some brat survived. You must have had a chance to escape. Clover. You chose death. Was passing on your research that important? You fools, did you really expect someone to be curious enough to follow in your footsteps after this? And we've got Clover, he's gone to Ohara. He sees the books and the giant pond there. And he's carrying flowers, so he's paying his respects. And he's weeping as he says this. Next page. Someone told me once that the voices of the past call out to you. History is written by the victors, and the words of the vanquished are usually cast into the deep, dark ocean. And so we see some more reactions around the world. We see Baratier, their chef, and Patty listening. We get a shot of Tequila Wolf. So at least, yeah, that looks like it's definitely Tequila Wolf. So Tequila Wolf might still play a part in the story because there is a bit of a mystery about why that bridge is being built, when that project started, and for what purpose. It's also interesting that Vegapunk is echoing Don Quixote's speech, Doflamingo's speech, about history being written by the victors. That coming up again is very pertinent. So someone was told me that the voices of the past call out to you. History is written by the victors, and the words of the vanquished are usually cast into a deep, dark ocean. That being said, their truth can still come to light if the oppressed carry it on their backs and endure. And now we have a shot of Robin listening to the broadcast from Vegapunk. She's holding her head and crying. Oh wait, Yeah, she is crying. She's pulling her head and crying, listening to this. Hey, what are you doing? For my part, I'm leaving this to the world. Hurry and blast off, says Zoro. So they're on a sunny, trying to get off the cloud. Lilith, it's no good, we can't. That old centaur is gonna keep attacking, says Zoro. We're finished if he does. The ship can only fly for a kilometer. The geezer disrupts our trajectory even a little, we won't make it. And we got a shot of Venus approaching the ship again, about to draw his blade. The wind's blowing north, and that's reducing our lift. The wind's blowing north, and that's reducing our lift. Any further jolts will make us fall short of our projected landing zone. According to my calculations, if we miss the ocean, our damages will be critical. We have to get rid of him first, says Lilith. What? And then we see Atlas landing a nice big blow on Venus, knocking him to the ground. Or wait, no. That's not Venus, that's Lilith. So Atlas punches Lilith. Wah! Lilith! Huh? Atlas! Zoran's Chopper and Usopp looking shocked at this. Why did you do that to Lilith? Huff, huff, huff. Snap. So Atlas has knocked Lilith unconscious. I'll leave her in your hands. Huh? Take off. I'll make sure you make it in one piece. What are you talking about? Lilith's access has been severed. Her Lilith access has been severed. Atlas is the only one left. Notices York. Okay. So did Atlas knock Lilith unconscious because she knew that York is monitoring Punk Records and she can tell who's still alive and or conscious by their accessing Punk Records. So she knocked Lilith out to save her. Make sure Atlas would assume that she's dead. Okay. Lilith's access has been severed. Atlas is the only one left. Take Lilith inside, Zoro, says Nami. Got it. Atlas, you've got to explain. Then Atlas dashes off from the ship. She's approaching the Nostro as he's approaching the ship. Let's go, Jinbei. We'd regret if we hesitated now. Do it, Brook. Right away, Zoro-san. So Atlas is rushing in, and Straw Hats are preparing to do the coup de burst. Coup de... Oop, Dinastro swings his blade and chops off Atlas's arm in one motion. Atlas is still charging and trying to use her other hand. She fires up her jets. Burst! And the ship, the coup de burst, goes off. The Sunny is starting to take off, and Atlas is crashed into Sinestro and is pushing him away so he can't damage the ship. This broadcast of mine, I'm praying that this message gets transmitted safely. Now we've got a shot of the Marines on the shoreline looking on at Emmett. Whoa, Vice Admiral Hound, sir, what is this? A snake, a boar, a bird, and now a robot. Where did these giant creatures come from? Honestly, I don't have the faintest idea. And I got Luffy, he's making that shocked expression with his eyeballs popping out of his head. And he's also got sparkles around him. It's the huge Robo! An Iron Giant? Now all the Marines and Frankie, or not the Marines, all the Giants and Frankie, everyone on the ship they've all got sparkles and they're smiling. An Iron Giant? Joy Boy, I'm happy we got to meet again. And then Luffy, he's hearing Emma's voice. And he's making a question. Oh, over here, you. So Luffy hears it. He doesn't know who the robot is talking about, and I'm not sure if he knows where the voice is coming from because it looks like he turns around, he's looking around, I guess to see where the voice is coming from. Back to Vegapunk's broadcast. I realize it would be foolish to blindly trust in a one-sided account of a 900-year-old battle. And now Emmett is speaking more. I came like before. Your enemy is my enemy. I am glad. I can fight for you again, Joy Boy. And Luffy smiles. You can talk? That's so cool. I will protect you from danger, Joy Boy. And now we've got Shepherd and Topman Warcury approaching. We must pound them to dust. It seems Vegapunk's speech is all but over. Now the giants. Let's go! Hey Straw Hat, is he a friend? Not really, he was saying something about protecting some guy called Joy Boy. Who even is that? It talked? We didn't hear a thing. Whoa, really? Enough chit-chat. Shoot, we can't let them get away. Yes, ma'am. So Bluegrass is ordering the Marines to open fire. She's still in her child form. But I think we should be able to scrutinize and learn about the past from every perspective possible. I only wish I had more time. So we've got Shepherd rearing up. And Emmett pointing his fist at Shepherd. Ka-ching! But there are those who cannot be stopped. It's ready to fire! What's gonna come out? Sanji and Frankie both with ecstatic looks on their faces and sparkles in their eyes. Looking at Emmett, wondering what he's gonna do. Shepherd is charging in on Emmett. Oh, what? Watch out, robot! Now Frankie, Luffy, and Sanji are all making shocked expressions and telling the robot to watch out. The robot grabs... The robot grabs Shepherd as Shepherd is trying to crash into the robot. Emmett. Whoa, robot! It seems the last 900 years have rendered those weapons inoperable. Peter, crush them where they stand. Leap. So Saturn comes up from behind, leaps up past Pete. Leaps up past Shepard, and its transmission once and for all. And Saturn lands on the the giant ship. I will not let you escape. Ah! Kuma, Bonnie. Huh? That's the Sunny. And so Sanji looks up and sees the Sunny. It's above them and it's falling towards them. Hold on tight, we're going down, says Zora. Are we gonna make it? So you need to make a grand sacrifice of yourself, says Venustro, and slices Atlas. Nah, I'm just lending a hand. Kaboom, and then there's an explosion, so Atlas explodes after Venus slices her. We're gonna make it. And now the Sunny is falling down towards the ocean. Looks like it'll land right next to the flagship of the giant pirates. 25. It only worked because of you, right, Atlas? We've got Usopp and Chopper crying as they look back to where Atlas was, noting that they only escaped because of Atlas and her sacrifice. And Vegapunk's message is still playing. 25 years ago, the pirate Gold Roger achieved the unprecedented by circumnavigating the globe. I have no doubt they heard the whole thing. Atlas' signal is gone. It's finally happened. York is celebrating. I'm the last Vegapunk. No, not quite. So, Atlas's explosion seems to have done a little bit of damage to Venustro. We see his face, and half of his face is blown off, and it's starting to regenerate. Crackle, crackle. So it's regeneration. So all of them have regeneration as expected. We have let you stay far too much, Stella, says Saturn. Indeed. This is the end. We've got Topman and Shepard still charging at Emeth. So, and Emeth's arm has been blown off. Oh my. I really have rested away. This is the time you spoke of, right, Joy Boy? Can I use it? They must have heard the voices of the past from the purest source possible. I am confident you have all come to the same conclusion at this point, and I anticipate that is what will ultimately determine how things transpire in the future. Wait, what was that? Did he say Gold D? Cover and color spread next issue. A visionary envisions the future. That's the end of the chapter. It ends with a shot of prisoners. And I'm looking at these prisoners. I don't recognize any of them. And I'm not sure where this is. When you see prisoners in One Piece, you usually think Impel Down, so I'm thinking this might be somewhere in Impel Down, but there's nothing about these prisoners that suggests they have any particular alliance. They don't look like they're Okama, so they're probably not related to Bon Clay, and they don't look like they would be related to Doflamingo or anyone else that is important that is currently captured at Impel Down that we know of. Maybe they're just random prisoners. And why would we be returning to Impel Down at this point? Does that mean next chapter we might get another look at Doflamingo and Magellan in Impel Down? Or is this just random? But that isn't interesting. And we have Emmett. He's about to use something. Can I use it? A weapon or technique? This is the time you spoke of. Can I use it? Something that Joy Boy told him he had to save and use at just the right moment, just the right time. And interestingly enough, we go back up in the chapter and Emmett mentions that he is happy to fight for Joy Boy or alongside Joy Boy again. I came like before. Your enemy is my enemy. I'm glad I can fight for you again, Joy Boy. So he's fought for Joy Boy before. Joy Boy's enemy. Your enemy is my enemy. So this confirms that Joy Boy was participating in the war against the Elders 900 years ago, or the war against the world government 900 years ago. He fought alongside Joy Boy. Your enemy is my enemy. Confirming that Joy Boy participated in the war. Which, and that brings up a question about Joy Boy's participation in the war. If Joy Boy's spirit was the same as Luffy's, he wouldn't be voluntarily. He wouldn't really be voluntarily. Yeah, he wouldn't really be voluntarily participating in the war unless A, the world government was standing in his way of achieving something that he wanted to achieve. B, the world government had done something to him, had hurt or killed someone important to Joy Boy, and that would cause Joy Boy to be enemies with the Alliance at that time, the pre-world government, the Alliance of Nations. So those are the two main possibilities for why Joy Boy would be participating in the war. Another possibility is just that the war broke out around him and Joy Boy wasn't really fighting in the war per se, he was just trying to survive. So something kinda like Marineford, but without having a specific goal in mind. And he fought for Joy Boy. Is this a little bit closer to that confirmation of Emmett and Zunisha being part of Joy Boy's crew? Emmett and Zunisha being part of Joy Boy's crew. We're a little bit closer to that confirmation. And it's interesting also to note that Joy Boy gave Emmett the request not to do this thing, whatever he's about to use, not to use it until the right time. Which means that Joy Boy was thinking about this eventually being about this war that he was participating in not ending, and in the distant future, there being a need for Emma at a particular moment. So was that just instinct, or did Joy Boy somehow know? It's bringing up a lot of mysteries surrounding Joy Boy. And then there's the question of what was Emmett trying to do? He grabbed his arm, and it looked like he was about to launch some kind of attack, like maybe a rocket punch or something, a cannon, something like Frankie's Weapons Left or something. But he makes that pose, and because he's so ancient and rested out, whatever attack he was trying to do at that moment didn't come out. And what happened was Shepard chomped. That's what happened. Shepard rushed into him and chomped and bit off his arm. And now we have Saturn actually on the ship, so they're going to have to knock him off the ship to make their escape. And Saturn is targeting Bonnie and Kuma and Vegapunk. The Nostro has only been delayed, but Sunny's about to land next to the giant pirate ship, so that will have all the Straw Hats united at that point. But that also means that the Nostro can probably leap from up on that skyline cloud and get all the way down to where they are, which means that Nostro will reunite with Shepard, Topman, Saturn, and Mars is not there yet. Where was Mars the last time we saw him? It's important because Mars can fly, so Mars can arguably reach the Straw Hats from a greater distance. Even if they start sailing out, you can reach them at a greater distance than any of the other elders. So it's interesting we haven't seen him here in the last 2 chapters, I think, or last 1 chapter. Trying to remember what Mars was focused on, not entirely sure, but we are definitely rushing towards the climax here. Vegapunk's message is probably, let's see, ultimately determine how things transpire in the future. Vegapunk does once again reconfirm, because we already had a confirmation that Roger and his crew learned the secrets of the world. They learned everything that Joy Boy left behind. So, what Joy Boy left behind, alongside the One Piece, is his life story, probably. His story in the past, the laugh tale. The funny story, which is why Roger named the island Laugh Tale. So it will be an account of Joy Boy's life 900 years ago, the past, the formation of the world government, why they formed, what the war was between Joy Boy's kingdom and the Alliance, Joy Boy's adventures as the first pirate, what his goal was, what he set out to achieve as the first pirate. Also the mystery of why the world is sinking, what can possibly be done to halt or reverse the sinking of the world. Maybe. But this does say that, that's a thought. Could Joy Boy's flashback be the final flashback in One Piece? Does that make sense for Joy Boy's flashback to be the final flashback in One Piece? It feels like yes, but at the same time, no. But it's, at this point, it's a contender now. Joy Boy could be the final flashback in One Piece, but let's see. Is learning about Joy Boy necessary before the end game, before the end of the story? Maybe it is. So maybe Joy Boy is not the final flashback. I suspect that we might get Joy Boy's flashback in chunks, because some of it is relevant to Luffy's powers how how the Nika fruit A came to exist and B how it got passed down. So with that in mind, we have to learn everything about the Nika fruit before the end of the story. So with that in mind, we have to learn that part. The part where the fruit was in Joy Boy's possession has to be learned before the end of the story. So that means either all of Joy Boy's story or just the part relating to how he got the devil fruit has to be told before the end of the story. The full flashback could be the final flashback in the story, but as I'm thinking about it, I feel like it's not as likely. Because I feel like the final flashback will have to do with Luffy somehow. But that's thinking really, really far ahead. So it's a lot of information coming in this chapter. The biggest revelation will be that Clover is a member of the D Clan, which is what inspired him to learn about the past. The government killed Clover's brother, who was also a D. So we have another member of the D Clan. And then we have the question of why why? And what were they doing before? What were they doing before the brother was killed? Were they studying at that point still? So there's an interesting question about Clover. Now, I don't think we're going to get a flashback on Clover's life, but more details about his life would be interesting to learn as a member of the D Clan. And Tequila Wolf. What is the purpose of Tequila Wolf? How does it relate to this? And we finally see Robin reacting to the news a little bit more. Did she know that Clover was a D? Could it be that she knew that Clover was a D? If Robin knew that Clover was a D, that could be part of why she was so interested in finding out what the meaning of the D Clan is. Because it would have been two Ds that she befriended throughout her life. It would have been Saul and Clover. And that would put her in a spot very similar. Actually, that puts... Now I'm thinking about it, that puts her in a spot very similar to Sabo, who is also... Well, Sabo is a member of the Revolutionary Army. Robin is a pirate, but it puts her in a situation very similar to Sabo. Sabo is the brother of two members of the D-Clan. Robin, the friend of two members of the D-Clan. Those who are that intertwined with the D-Clan have checkered fates. Robin's, of course she has a checkered fate. She's had a checkered fate her entire life, basically. And that checkered fate is because of her association with D-Clan members, her association with Clover on Ohara, the Island of Scholars, is what caused her to have a checkered fate. And Sabo's fate is checkered. It's checkered because of his association now, his brotherhood, his relation to Luffy and Ace. That checkers his fate. So is it that people who end up forming close relationships with multiple members of the D-Clan have a checkered fate? That is very interesting to think about. Because when you think on the story, there haven't been a whole lot of people that have had close associations with more than one member of the D-Clan, when you think about it. Because there's Sabo with Ace and Luffy, there's Robin with Saul, Clover, and Luffy now. And actually the rest of the Straw Hats, I guess we could kind of put them in that box too, because of their alliance with Law. Let's see, Law. And there's also Vivi. The Straw Hats would probably be the members of the Straw Hats would probably be the ones that have had the most associations with the most members of the D-Clan and the most friendships with the members of the D-Clan. And then there's Sabo. That is interesting, because when you think about it, before the revelation that Clover is a D, the things that happened in Ohara make sense still, but they make even more sense when you get the revelation that Clover was a D, and also explains some of Robin's motivation, like why she wants to learn about the D family besides Saul. Saul is a big part, but now we know Clover is also a big part, and perhaps Clover is the first spark, if she learned that Clover was a D. And Clover wants the voices of the past to be heard. Vegapunk again with his neutrality, saying that you won't find the truth, the answer to what is good and evil from the stories of the past. History is written by the victors. So perhaps this is setting up for a moment at Impel Down. Because we have the callback to Doflamingo's speech during this chapter. And then second, we have the end of the chapter ending on a panel in a prison, most likely Impel Down. So that's two hints that we might just get a revisit to Impel Down here. So what are they setting up here? Are we finally reaching the point where Doflamingo escapes from Impel Down? And or the assassins from the world government finally make it to Impel Down and come after Doflamingo to take his life? Even though, I guess that does make sense, but yeah, it does make sense because he lost his status as a celestial dragon. To the rest of the celestial dragons, he's considered immortal. So it wouldn't be a case where it is required by law that only another celestial dragon can kill him. So it wouldn't be the God's Knights coming to Impel Down to get Doflamingo. They could just send Cypherpole agents, or, basically only Cypherpole agents. Or perhaps certain Marines they could send to kill him, but that would be like Admiral class. And I don't think that any of the Admirals currently are in a position where they could spare that force to go after Doflamingo and kill him, even if he is restrained and Impel Down. It's still taking one of the big military forces and devoting it to a mission unrelated to their current crisis, which is dealing with the warlords and Blackbeard on the move, and now Luffy here. So there's a lot. And Buggy and the Cross Guild, there's a whole pressure cooker, a kettle boiling over. The world government's trying to control everything all at once. So they can't afford to spare their powerhouses so easily. So, and if they send anyone less than an admiral or God's Knights after Doflamingo, and Doflamingo probably escapes from Impel Down and escapes being killed. If that is the case, maybe the world government has even forgotten at this stage. They've decided that since things are going so badly, they might have forgotten all about the whole sending someone to kill Doflamingo thing. But either way, I think we're going to see a comeback to Impel Down. Doflamingo is definitely going to escape before the end of the series. Bon Clay might escape too before the end of the series. It might be the same event. Maybe something happens and Impel Down is totally destroyed. But if that's the case, like, all the criminals in Impel Down get free. Or an event happens and just another handful of prisoners escapes. But either way, that's going to be something the world government has to deal with. Okay, that's going to do it for this chapter. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and comment and subscribe. And I will catch you all in the next chapter. Until then, stay cool.